Well, good afternoon. Again, there you go. Okay. Good afternoon again, and welcome to Macon-Bibb County Board of Commissioners pre-commission meeting. Today is August the 5th, 2025, and the time is approximately 4:35. Do apologize for starting a little bit late, but we've been making some copies for some things that we have scheduled today. We do have a full agenda. Our agenda will last until we go into executive session. We may have one item come out of executive session, and then our regularly scheduled meeting will begin at 6 o'clock. So we'll go ahead and begin our meeting by officially calling this to order and welcoming everyone here. And we'll start with our approval of the minutes. That's the approval of the minutes from the July 15, 2025 pre-commission meeting. Can I get a motion to approve? A motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Wynn. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. We do have several appointments today. Items 3A, B, and C. We'll begin with 3A, which is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission appointing Commissioner Brenda Bailey to Macon-Bibb County Board of Health. That is my motion. Can I get a second? Second by Commissioner Wynn. We have a motion and second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Can we interview her? I don't know. She may talk too long. got her microphone off. She's got her hair looking different over there. So anyway, I thought I saw Mr. Jimmy Smith here. Or maybe I'm mistaken, but I could have sworn I've seen him around here. We do have a motion second, and presently on that board is our District 3 Commissioner, Mr. Stanley Stewart. So this will complete our appointments from the county. We have a motion and second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. We'll move on to the next item, which is item 3B. This is two appointments to the Keep Macon-Bibb Beautiful Board. First one is Ms. Dr. Brandy Simpson Miller, who could not be here tonight, but we all know her, and Mr. Gary Wilson, who is with us tonight. Both of those will be added to the Keep Macon-Bibb Beautiful Board and replacing two other members. So at this time, we'd entertain a motion to approve. Got a motion by Commissioner Bronson, second by Commissioner Stewart. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously to be sent to consent agenda. Item 3C is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission appointing George Thomas Jr. to the Central Georgia Development Authority. Mr. Thomas, raise your hand. He is here with us today. Thank you for being here. And can I get a motion to approve? Got a motion and second by the Bronson and Stewart folks over there. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Thank you very much for agreeing to serve, and we'll get more information to you that after it passes tonight. We do have several new alcohol beverage licenses. We haven't had any in quite a while on our list, so bear with us for just a moment. The first one is HMK Express LLC, which is located at 1105 Gray Highway. After reviewing this particular document, legal does recommend a denial. The applicant has failed to demonstrate the right to possession of the property and did not provide a requested certificate of good standing. Therefore, the county attorney's office attempted to contact the applicant on numerous occasions and could not rectify the deficiency. So at this time, we'd entertain a motion for denial on this project. Motion by Commissioner Wynn, second by Commissioner Stewart. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and we'll take the appropriate steps. Item B is a Macon Shell Mart, which is located at 3750 Mercer University Drive. This is a business that's been in existence for a while, but it's under a new lease. You can see a picture of that there. At this time, legal does recommend approval of this. They met all the legal and statutory requirements to do so, including a certificate of good standing. So we entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Bailey. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Howell. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. Item C is a Macon Beverage Outlet located at 3965 Arkwright Road. You've also got a picture of the Macon Beverage Outlet there. Same situation, legal does recommend approval of this, meet all the legal statutory requirements, and do have a certificate of good standing, which means they owe no taxes. So at this time, we entertain a motion for approval of this business. Motion by Commissioner Wynn. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Howell. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item D is a Super Gas Sitco located at 1940 Sherland Drive, Macon, Georgia. You can see that. It's also been in existence business under a new lease. Legal does recommend approval of this. They meet all legal and statutory requirements, and I'll make a motion to approve. Can we get a second? Second by Commissioner Bailey. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries 5-2. We'll go ahead and move on to Riverside Food Mart located at 2650. Was that 5-2 or 6-2? Missing one, so we got 9. Y'all tell me the math. All right, Riverside Food Mart located at 2650 Riverside Drive. You can see a picture of that one there as well. It's an existing business. It does meet all the legal and statutory requirements, including the certificate of good standing. So at this time, we'd entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Howell. Do we have a second? Yes, sir. Hold on.
Like check, one check.
There you go.
Hey, the photo.
Are you hitting your button over there? Let's try it one more time. Don't hit nothing. Okay. Speak up. Go ahead.
All right. The photo that we have that's being displayed.
The question is, how long ago was a photo taken on which particular one? The 2650 Riverside Drive, Riverside Food Mart. Does anyone have the answer to that question? Today? Okay. There you go. You want it more sooner than that? All right. We're back on 2650. We do have a motion and a second. Is that correct?
No, I have a motion and a second.
Yeah. Got a motion. Can I get a second? Second by Commissioner, who was that? Hewitt. Got a motion and a second. Commissioner Bronson, do you have a question? Nope. Now you light this on. That's what happens when you get here late. All right. All right, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. Thank you very much. Item F is a Nouri, I'm going to say that wrong, Energy Retail located at 3311 Mercer University Drive. You should see a picture of that. Can you see that? It's even raining today. You notice that? All right. So this does meet all the legal and statutory requirements to serve alcohol. And they also have submitted a certificate of good standing, meaning they owe no taxes by the owner or the leasee. So at this time, we'd entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Wynn, second by Commissioner, is that Bailey? Bryant. God, I knew I was going to do it. All right, Commissioner Bryant. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. Item G is Thunderbird Liquor Store located at 2585 Emory Highway. I think some people know where that's at. I don't see a picture of it, but Thunderbird Liquor Store has been there forever. They are under a change of ownership. It looks like there's an owner-operator there. And they do meet all the legal and statutory requirements, including the certificate of good standing. There it is right there. So at this time, we entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Bryant. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Howell. Any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Opposed, nay. Okay, well, we don't care about beer, but we care about liquor. Okay, vice versa. All right. Item H is Margarita's Mexican Restaurant located at 5451 Bowman Road. I think we're all familiar with that is. If not, pretty close there. They do meet all legal and statutory requirements for serving alcohol at the Mexican restaurant there, and they do have a certificate of good standing. There we go. So this time we entertain a motion for approval. All right. We got two over here. Who's that? Got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Good thing there. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor says aye, so we sent that to consent agenda. We have several agreements. I'm not going to name all of them, but there's 5 through A through H, starting with the first one. First one is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute a professional services agreement with AV Communications, LLC, in amount of up to $100,000 for provision of air service promotional campaign services for the Middle Georgia Regional Airport payable by the Airport Fund. I saw Mr. Fayor, if you don't mind coming up to that microphone. Go ahead and get a motion to approve this. I'll make that motion. Can I get a second? Second by Commissioner Stewart. And I'll let you begin. Then I think Ms. Wynn may have a question or two for you. She's very eager over there.
Yes, ma'am.
It's usually me, but it's not coming
Oh,
on for
it's
some reason.
usually you, okay. Is this the only company that we contacted to do this? And what's their background? Who do they do it for? And do we know what kind of
Right.
promotion they're doing? A
So,
lot of questions there, I'm sorry.
no, we've spoke with a number of companies. The reason that we selected this company is marketing at airports can be unique, and it's just not working with the airport folks to market the airport. They also have to work with the airlines to do it. So we needed a company that has the experience in working with both airlines and airports, number one. Number two, there's a certain regulations that go along with marketing at an airport. The FAA does not allow us to specifically market an airline or a route. We have to market the airport primarily. And so it takes a unique set of experience to ensure that you're in compliance with the FAA's expectations and be able to stay within those guidelines and strategically market your airport. So yes, we did talk to other entities, but we felt like based on their experience and references that they were the best to go with.
So how do they market it? What do they do? Magazines, TV, or what do they do? I mean,
So it's
trade.
a multitude of different sources that they'll use to market. But what they'll do is they take the data that we've collected over several years. That could be airline ticket data, cell phone data, a number of other things. And they put it together to figure out where are the people that we're trying to get a message to, and then they'll use different avenues to get that message. Very little billboards that is proven not to be super effective, but they still do it. There'll be social media, commercials, and other ways such as that. But primarily your normal sources of marketing: social media, television, radio, billboard.
Okay. I think that was all I wanted to ask Doug. Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. We do have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries and be sent to consent agenda. Next item is the resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute a lease agreement with H2 Aero Services LLC for the lease of 2 former Air National Guards buildings at the Middle Georgia Regional Airport. At this time, we entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Howell, second by Commissioner Bronson. Commissioner Bronson, any questions?
I do.
Okay, Commissioner Howell, I'll go with you first, sir.
Mine's not necessarily a question, just a little explanation. If you own an airplane, H2 is the only place in Macon, or at least at Middle Georgia Regional, to service your airplane. Change oil in your plane, just do regular maintenance, flat tires, whatever. That's who H2 is, just so everybody knows. And I'm assuming, Doug, that by what we're doing here, they're expanding their business.
It is a piece of the business. It's not your traditional aircraft maintenance where they're turning wrenches and changing oils. What they'll be doing over in this area is more composite work, where carriers or private aircraft owner who have composite material on their aircraft, such as a radome, can bring it in. They patch and repair those radomes and that kind of thing. So it is in support of what we've tried to accomplish at the airport with the MRO mall concept, where we have tenants that paint, we have tenants that are like Embraer that are turning wrenches, and they all feed off each other. So what the composite work they're doing is in support of Embraer, Slate Aviation, and Dean Baldwin. So they're really kind of part of a team, if you will, that gives them all a competitive advantage. Quick example of that is normally if Embraer was doing work on an aircraft that needed radome work, they would have to send it away. They don't have to do that anymore. So their cost to their customers cheaper because they can do business with H2 Aero. And then if they need paint, then they can simply take it over. So the overall charge going to a customer that brings a plane into the airport is reduced because there's so many services that could get there. And you understand the cost of flying an airplane away to get paint and then come back to get something else done is very expensive. So being able to do it all in one place cuts costs, gives competitive gives all the tenants at the airport a competitive advantage, and that's what they'll be doing there, so.
And I know from talking to the owner personally, H2, I mean, that's what they were doing really before they got into the maintenance. So it's not really new to them. It's just, I'm glad to see that they're finding room to do it. And that's always good. And what they're talking about, folks, the pieces that they're making is like the nose of a big airplane if it gets damaged or needs new equipment put in it. So either way, it's great to see growth at the airport, even if we don't always understand exactly what's going on out there. It's good for Macon that's more employees, that's more services, and more boots on the ground.
Love to see more come.
Thank you.
Commissioner Wynn, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, don't you sit down, Doug. Is this just a renewal of their lease?
Yes, ma'am.
And then how much, did we increase the lease price?
I am not certain. We did not increase it, no.
We didn't,
No.
okay. Was
No,
anybody
we
else?
reduced the amount of space that they would be using, so the cost of the lease went down.
All right.
But there are CPI adjustments that are built in. So the overall cost of what they were leasing.
So you made some
went-
kind of deal to
Yes.
keep it at the same amount. Was
Keep it
anyone
at the
else
same amount.
interested in leasing that space? That you're
That
aware of?
space sat empty for over 20 years, I believe.
Okay.
They're the only ones that ever occupy it since the Air National Guard left, so.
That's all I wanted to know, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any further questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Mr. Mayor, my light must not.
No, sir. Matter of fact, your name's no longer on my sheet there, Mr. Stewart, so that's why I've been confusing me. You, Mr. Bronson, has just left blank. What's your question, sir?
No, I just wanted to publicly say thank you to Doug for the job that you're doing, both at Middle Georgia and at the airport in my district, at the downtown airport. And secondly, backing up to 5A, I've been talking for a long time about minority and female contractors, and that communications company is indeed fits the bill for both of those. So I really appreciate you on that. Thank you.
All right, thank you there. All right, we do, going to move on to item C. Item C is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission to approve a change order in amount of $45,000 to the purchase order for Malting and Jenkins to be paid from the general fund. This is the Board of Commissioners Professional Services Audit Fee Line item. That's a lot to say. For additional expenses for the fiscal year 2024 audit, as you know, we did the 2024 audit. We don't know the prices of these audits until they get completed. We give an estimate in the budget. This year, we're wrapping up our many grants that we have, and including the ARPA funds that we had to get everything situated for. So because of the numerous grants that we did over the last couple of years and wrapping up this last year, the cost did increase by up to $45,000. So nothing we can do about that except for pay it. We did get a clean audit, so that's why that cost is there, and that's why we're making this adjustment in the budget to pay for that. So any other questions regarding that item? At this time, entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Wynn. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Bailey. All those in favor, did I say that wrong? Y'all both said, okay, I just heard that for you. All right, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item D is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the issuance of a purchase order in amount of $350,000 to Meade Road Transfer Station for services related to disposal of waste on behalf of Macon-Bibb County to be paid from the Solid Waste Management Fund, Solid Waste Landfill, and other services. This is money that we allocate. As you know, we kind of estimate how much we have from our convenience centers and others, and this is where we take our debris from. And from time to time, we'll come back toward the end of the year and make an adjustment on that. But this is budgeting $350,000 for that service. So at this time, I entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Howell. Have a second. Second by Commissioner Wilder. I haven't got you yet there, sir. We have a motion second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item E is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with the Middle Georgia Outdoor Lighting, Inc. for the purchase and installation of lighting at the Memorial Park Gym in an amount of $233,586 from our 2018 SPOS funds. As you recall, we took a trip there. This is part of closing out our SPOS monies. Commissioner Bronson, is this your area, sir? Would you like to make that motion? Got a motion by Commissioner Bronson. We have a second. Second by Commissioner Stewart. Any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. We sent to consent agenda. Item F, Commissioners that were here at the last meeting, you remember we did several supplementals, what we call true up or sure up of the 2024-25 budget, as opposed to the current budget we're in. This is another one of those that we have. It's $156,000 to approve a supplemental appropriation from the general fund for provide landscaping and temporary worker contract during fiscal year 2025. So in the Parks and Beautification, we just basically had to move from one item to another item within their budget for last year. This is not a new project. This is an accounting method that we're shoring that up. Commissioner Wynn, did you have a question?
That answered my question.
No problem. I anticipated your question since you let me know yesterday, and I appreciate that, so we can make sure we have the correct answer for you. So at this time, I entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Wynn. Do I have a second? Second, Commissioner Bryant. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Bless you. That motion carries, will be sent to consent agenda. Item G is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission agreeing to participate in a national Purdue and Sackler family opioid settlement. As you recall, this is something we discussed before. This is a national settlement. Mr. McNeil beside me has been working on this for a while, and we have some information that we need to opt in. So I'll let him give you just a reminder of what we did previously and what this means by opting in tonight. Go ahead,
Okay,
sir.
thank you. So we've been going sort of defendant by defendant in terms of settling these claims for the impacts of opioid addiction and the opioid epidemic on Macon-Bibb County and its ability to provide public services. I presented to the commission, I think at our last meeting, the Sandoz settlement, which Sandoz was a manufacturer of generic opioid medications. This is a settlement with Purdue Pharmaceuticals and the Sackler family. The Sackler family is the owner of the Purdue Pharmaceuticals company. Purdue is the company that patented OxyContin in the 1990s, and part of the allegations in this is that the Sackler family and Purdue used sort of aggressive marketing techniques to get doctors to overprescribe medications to the point that it led to addictions that then caused harms that the municipal governments had to respond to. And so sort of like the Sandoz settlement that we discussed at the last session, we don't yet know what a dollar amount is that we're going to get out of this settlement. It's going to be based in part on how many local governments do choose to participate. However, the Sackler family has been, and Purdue Pharmaceuticals have both been involved in a very large-scale federal bankruptcy case. And so essentially this fund that we are asking the commission to consider opting into to settle is going to be the only money that's available from that family for purposes of getting anything out of them for the harms that were done by the opioid epidemic on Macon-Bibb County. It's assumed that once they go through the bankruptcy process, there won't be any other assets that will be set aside by the court for purposes of paying for this. And so the deadline to opt in is the end of September, and then at that time, a court-appointed referee will know how many local governments are participating, and then based on that and factors such as our population and the evidence that we spent about a year and a half getting together evidence to show all the impacts that it had in the county, then they'll allocate some dollar amount to us. And my assumption, my expectation is that it will be limited in use to the same things that the other settlement funds have been limited to, which is generally different things relating to education and prevention and remediation of the effects of opioid addiction in the community, overdose prevention, things like that. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for the information. All right, appreciate that. We've got a little delay going on. So you've heard from the attorney regarding that. This is just like the other ones that we did before. Of course, this allows me to sign all documentation related to that. We're just opting into the settlement process right now. At the completion of that, we'll get the exact amount, what our share would be in the event that there's a settlement done minus any expenses, and that money will come to Macon-Bibb County. Of course, it does not spend that money until we decide how it gets spent. We'll bring that before the commission. So any questions in that regard? We do need a motion and a second, is that right? I got a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Waddle. We have a second. second by, I heard both of them that time. Commissioner Bailey, got a motion and second. Further questions?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay. Ms. Nguyen, go ahead.
Just from my knowledge, what are the abatement expenses that's mentioned a few times in our resolution? Abatement.
So abatement is anything that sort of stops people from using opioids. It could be things like community outreach and education. It could be like withdrawal services or counseling services to help people that are struggling with addiction. It's a very broad term, but essentially it's anything that sort of stops the use of opioids or stops the excessive use of opioids.
We're already have we done that kind of intervention with what we have?
We've done it through other programs, but our current opioid setups we haven't expended those funds yet. They'll come back for commission when we have a proposal or project that needs to be paid for.
So are there, so the approved purposes, do they have to be approved by you or?
Commission.
The commission?
Let's walk back for a second. So each of these settlements have certain restrictions that they have to be used for. Some of them with the state and federal, of course, are more restrictive than others. So they give us a list on how the monies can be expended. But any expenditures that are made will come back before the commission before we spend the money.
Thank you.
Yeah. Commissioner Howell, then I'll take Commissioner Stewart.
Yeah, and I had a general question that was similar to what Commissioner Nguyen had. I had a constituent reach out to me, and I'm sure he reached out to others about, I think he saw last month where we had approved something similar to this. And of course, they wanted to know, what we were doing with the money we had gotten. And then I said, I'm not sure that we've gotten a whole lot of money yet, and I didn't think anything had been done. But I think the public needs to know that we don't just spend this money paving roads. It's very specific on what we can do with it. And have we got any that we've spent yet, or are we still deciding what to do with it? I know it wasn't much that we got if we got
Well,
any.
we received, I think, $1.3 million. We have not expended that money yet because we're going through the regulations on what it can be spent for. And then we're working on getting proposals. We have a couple of people who had requested money, and we're just going through and see if they meet the statutory guidelines or the restrictions placed by that particular settlement. And we'll bring them back before commission at the appropriate time.
Yeah. So the answer is yes, we have, and we have received some, but we hadn't spent any yet. But that's
correct.
That's the incoming.
That's correct.
So they gave us the money and didn't tell us how we could spend it, so we've had to hang on to it for a while, right?
Well, they told us how we can spend it, but it's subject to interpretation. It's not as simple sometimes as we think. Commissioner Stewart?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was going to ask too, because Mike, this is basically a class action lawsuit coming out of the state of Ohio, if I remember correctly, right?
It's a multi-district litigation. Okay. It's similar to class action, but it's governments that are all suing.
From Ohio?
And it's consolidated into Ohio. It's just assigned to an Ohio judge.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my question is, once that money is sent to us, pretty much piggybacking on what both of them were asking, could it be spread to other drug usage? In other words, we have multiple streams of drugs that are being used in this community. Can it be used for different people suffering from different drug elements?
The guidance documentation, it's from the court itself, and it's basically a list of categories of things you can spend it on, but it's all specific to opioids. To the extent that you fund, for example, a counseling program for drug use, if the counseling program is also treating people that are using, cocaine or marijuana or something like that, potentially there's room to admit those people into that program, but that's getting into some real kind of gray area detail stuff that's not covered specifically in the guidance. So Narcan is specific. That is absolutely allowed to purchase Narcan with this to stop overdoses. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Okay, keep in mind, this is not to spend the money, this is just opting into the suit. Otherwise, if we don't do this month, then of course we don't have an opportunity to recover any funds. So at this time, we need a motion to approve. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. We look forward to bringing some items before you in the very near future, but what we don't want to do is accept money and use it in a way that's not authorized. We have to pay that money back after we spend it. And also, Ms. Moore does a lot of that paperwork, and she doesn't want to get in trouble. So we'll make sure that we check all the boxes. Item H is the last one of these agreements, and it's a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission to authorize the mayor to execute an amendment to the construction manager at-risk agreement with Sheridan Construction to add stairwell renovations to the scope of work in the amount of $352,550 with cost to be paid from the 2018 SPLOST. This is going to close out, I am told, the auditorium from that SPLOST figure there. and this should be the last one according to Mr. Clay Murphy. So this time, I'd entertain a motion to approve. Got a motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Wynn. Any further questions? Bronson again? I'm telling you, your name's not up here, buddy. I don't even recognize you there. Let me write you down, Stewart. All right. Commissioner Bronson, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. We're going to move on to grants. We have one of those tonight. This is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the acceptance of a Council of Accountability Courts Judges State of Georgia grant award from the State of Georgia Criminal Justice Coordinating Council for fiscal year 2026 in amount of $117,653 with matching funds in amount of $20,762, which is payable in kind as existing employee salaries awarded to the Macon Judicial Circuit and Felony Drug Court Program. That's a lot to say. Michelle, are you here? If you don't mind coming at that microphone and pulling it down. First of all, tell us who you are and what you do, and then we're going to ask you a few questions about this once I get a motion in a second, okay?
I'm Michelle McMullen, the Director of the Accountability Courts for the Macon Judicial Circuit. Is that better?
Try it one more time. You're good.
Okay. My name is Michelle McMullen, and I'm the Director of the Accountability Courts for the Macon Judicial Circuit.
Thank you for being here tonight. So this time I entertain a motion to approve. A motion by Commissioner Bronson. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Stewart. Now, Commissioner Wynn, did you have a question? Okay.
Do you
ahead.
have any,
When you speak of results, what type of results are you using?
I don't know, what are you looking to do? What does this program do, and what kind of results are you getting from that? What does
So-
it do?
So basically, the Accountability Courts program is for people who are charged with felony or state crimes, basically. And this is an alternative to either being on probation for extended period of time or going to prison.
So some of the people are not having to go to prison because you
They're
work
in-
with,
Correct. They entered the Accountability Courts program, which is 18 to 24 months.
So just to add a little clarity, I think this may be doing with the drug portion of the accountability courts. And what it does allow someone an opportunity to get drug, say they're in drug court, they get the opportunity to have drug treatment, go to attend classes, meetings, discuss all the information they need to do, get counseling that they need over a period of 18 to 24 months. And if they successfully complete that, they can avoid going to prison. And of course, not have to be at our local jail. So they have various programs. We have the Veterans Court, we have the Mental Health Court, we have the Drug Court, and is there one more?
We have the Family Treatment Court, which does dependency cases, and then we also have the Peach and Crawford Accountability Court.
Right. So those are various alternative types of courts that are funded, and we get that funding in. And because recent activity, we've had to go up and go down in some cases. But this particular one is no match. They use one of our employees' salary there as a match, so we don't put any money into it. And that's the purpose of it. It's a program.
well, you know I like things that we don't have an actual match to it. And this is one in kind for salaries. And you know, yesterday, there was a rainy day, so you can tell I had a lot of questions. I had time to
You got a
read
lot
it.
of questions.
Thank
So
you.
I appreciate you being here tonight on such short notice, but anytime we get a question in advance from a commissioner, we try to make sure we have someone here to answer those questions that we can't give them ourselves. We do appreciate all that you do over there in accountability courts. It gives us an opportunity to help people outside of just sending them to prison. And certainly, we've had some challenges on the national as far as getting monies into Macon. So anytime we can get these additional fundings and just use a match for an employee that we already have is greatly appreciated. So we do have a motion and second. If there's no further questions, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously to be sent to the consent agenda. Thank you for being here tonight. You can leave at any time. We'll leave that up to you. But we have, we're going to move on to change or additions to the code. And who's that, Ms. Okay. Look at that. I thought it was your sister up there. I was looking at her. Ms. Beavers is here. Thank you for that. This is a change and additions of code. This is an ordinance of the Macon-Bibb County Commission to amend Article 2 of Chapter 24 of the Macon-Bibb County Code of Ordinance to clarify the process of public requests for complete streets infrastructure and appropriate projects for complete street review. This is very important, as we'll enter a presentation here in just a moment regarding streets, but we want to provide some clarity on this complete street program and what can be done to make sure that we have a better understanding before we get into these roads that we're about to pave. So this time I'll ask you to identify yourself and then tell us a little bit about this addition to the code.
Will do. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Mayor Miller. I'm Assistant County Attorney Adriana Beavers. I know you love it when I do that. This is a modification to Article 2 of Chapter 24, which governs our Complete Streets program. So this administration has put a major push towards pedestrian safety and improving that education-wise and enforcement, making sure that people know the appropriate ways to use our roads and that the roads are safe for lots of different forms of transportation. So the changes we're looking at making here specifically relate to our Complete Streets Committee. Currently, the Complete Streets Committee, it is set up to review a wide variety of roads projects to see if they may be beneficial to add bike lanes or maybe narrowing of the lanes to slow down traffic, to add lighted crosswalks to improve pedestrian safety. As we go forward, part of the Safe Streets program is ensuring, I can't talk this evening, that your roads are smooth. So we are also in the Paving the Way program. So the changes here primarily look at exempting regular maintenance, which would be our milling and deep patch, from the Complete Streets, that we can look at those projects, but it's not a requirement of it, and ensuring that citizens know the process of putting in a request for Complete Streets infrastructure on a county-owned and maintained road, and that those requests are reviewed timely, and we can get a recommendation to the administration to add those to a project list.
Thank you for that explanation. This time, I entertain a motion to approve. Got a motion by Commissioner Howell. We have a second. Second by Commissioner Wilder. I know we have some questions. Do we have some questions? Go ahead. Who wants next? Commissioner Bronson?
Got a question too.
Go ahead, Commissioner Bronson. You hit your light again. There you go. You're good.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, what's the difference, or will there be any difference in regards to the reporting methods outside of like see-click-fix?
So see-click-fix requests will not go directly to the Complete Streets Committee. The process for putting in a request is to make it to our fantastic clerk's office, and then that'll be added into their agenda for review. If we get a see-click-fix request for some sort of change, we don't have that in this code, but I'm fairly certain that we can just have that referred to the clerk's office, let them know that that's coming, and discuss putting in that request with the notifier.
Okay. So the reporting, I know you mentioned earlier as far as the way that the community needs to report these things. Is there anything that can be given to us to kind of assist in that push out of information?
We do not have any documentation, but we can get with our media team, and they will help us create some educational materials that'll explain the process to people.
Sweet deal. I think it'd be good for us to have that way when we go and do our sit-down sessions with our communities and so forth. We're able to kind of push that information out as well. So thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
We had Commissioner Bryant.
That was one of my questions. Well, that was my question is how was the public gonna know about these changes, if you were clarifying it?
So the committee has been in place for a few years, I believe since 2019. The process has been there, but we can get with our media team to give them a push and let people know how to get their requests in.
Yeah, this is not going to change anything on behalf of the constituents, so there's nothing new that they would have to do or change, is my understanding.
No, sir.
This is to clarify our process, because what you don't want to have to do is, for example, if we were going to pave 1,000 roads, you don't want that to have to go through a particular committee that's only an advisory board to hear, otherwise we'd all be gone by the time we start paving roads. So we just want to provide some clarification, but if you got a situation, just say, for example, you have Vineville Road where you have 2 lanes going one going the other, and people call us every single day about those cones that we can't do anything about. Just so happens if you had an example like that. They could probably recommend, when it comes down to GDOT, for a recommendation on should that be a middle lane, should it be a turn lane only, should it be 2 always one way and one way the other, those types of things. Or say we're going into Forest Hill and we're starting to kind of do a road like that, where originally we had a plan to widen that road and to make some changes or maybe some traffic calming. That's something that's more in the lines of that. But just simple going out to Goodall Mill Road and doing a milling and paving is not something that we necessarily need to prolong the process on. So this is just going to get better clarification on that, so we don't have to do an exemption every single time we put out a road out there to get paved and make sure everybody's on the same page. So hope I didn't complicate it any further. Any follow-up questions before we take a vote?
Just a
Commissioner Wynn?
quick one for Ms. Beavers. Did I hear you say that this addresses crosswalks too, or can?
It can, if citizens feel like a crosswalk would be beneficial on a road that they frequent, they see that there's an issue there, they can put in that request, and the Complete Streets Committee will review it, see if it's a feasible project, and then refer that to the administration for further engineering review through our traffic engineering office, and also financial feasibility review, see where the money is, and see if we can get that on a project list.
So since he mentioned Forest Hill, look at that one, okay.
Any other questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Will be sent to consent agenda. What time do we have? 5:15. We're going to move the approval of the bond to after executive session. So if no one has a problem with that, we'll do that and move right on to the paving the way presentation. We'll make the presentation to you and those at home on the road paving project and by way of a presentation, a PowerPoint, and then we'll take a motion shortly after that to go into executive session. There's not going to be any vote on the roads paving the way, but we will be making a presentation to you. Did you have something, Commissioner Bronson? Okay. Yes and no, yeah. So we give you a list of roads recommended, and we'll talk about that list in just a moment, but not specifically, but you'll see that in general. But so the first item you see on the screen is this Macon-Bibb County paving the way. All 9 commissioners that normally sit around this chamber has heard from all your constituents, and a lot of times they complain about roads. And this is something that we're doing in a big way, and I know I'm glad, I know you are too, to finally be able to get out in front of this and do some real work. And we'll discuss that bond in just a little bit on how that affects this. So we'll move on to the next slide here. Give you kind of an idea of what we've done since 2020 to 2025, ideally from 2021, because there wasn't a whole lot done in 2020 during COVID, but just to kind of give you a range of 20 to 25, Macon-Bibb County paid approximately 45.5 miles of roads. And we all know that's pretty much we've been paving about 8 miles of road per year. The previous SPOS only allocated about $700,000 per year, and that's the only funds that were being used at the time to match the state funds that we get for the fuel tax that people pay when you get gasoline that's divided amongst all the counties and jurisdictions according to their plan. So we've been paving roads, and we've been doing it faster than we've ever done before, but not fast enough, as fast as we need to do it in the future. So this is round one. What we've been doing, our Paving the Way project, is this 45.5 miles of road that we've already been paving. Next slide, please. So here's what we're looking at. Today, 36.18 miles of roads. That's, you can see our map of our county there, Paving the Way round 2. You'll see all those blue dots. What those blue dots indicate is our LMIG and SPLOS that we currently have out there now. We have 4 RFPs that's been out there. 3 of those are still pending that are closed August the 21st and the 28th. 1 RFP has been closed, and we expect to bring to you soon the bid that was awarded in that case, that will be awarded in that case, so they can begin the work. The 3 others, when their time runs out, we'll bring those before you, but this will complete all those roads there. So you can look at 36.18. You'll see that'll happen within this year. And that basically there is almost as much as we've done in the last 5 years, pretty close to that, to show you that the speed that we're moving on these things. We've learned a lot from the LMIG and SPLOS and how we can maximize those roads. One of the things we've been doing is working with our small minority business person to make sure we can get more people come to the table. Previously, we only had 1 to 2 paving contractors that would come and submit bids, and as you can imagine, we're on their terms when you do that. If I only got 1 company out there and we got all these roads, they can pretty much tell us when they're going to do the roads, and sometimes they can dictate the price. I'm happy to say that this last bid we had 8 companies apply. So what does that mean? When you have 8 companies apply, it means we get a better price for our citizens and our taxpayers and more roads, but also we can do it in an expedited manner. We can spread it out so everybody gets a piece of the pie, and we can do multiple things at one time. And we'll be able to do that, and we'll be able to limit somebody from getting all the contracts as well. So you're spending about $12 million on that portion there of round 2. So the next step, please. So this is what we learned. If you've seen that street scan come through your neighborhood, and we've been asking about this for a while, and of course, we had a little delay on there with weather and other things, but so how do we determine what roads that's going to be presented to you for paving during this next part of the process? If you look on the screen there, I'll basically just read it out. It's roads that are rated 30 and below. You know, previously, when we did the robotics program, it was 1 to 5, with 5 being the worst roads, and this commission was very diligent about moving from the 5s to the 4s to the 3s. But as you can imagine, if Paul Bronson and Lester Miller both look at the road and we guess what the number is going to be, if I say 3 and he says 4, there's not much of a difference between those two roads, right? But if I say, 30 and he says 70, that's a pretty big difference, so we can actually get a better look and a better grade there. This new schedule goes from 1 to 100, with 1 being the worst and 100 being the best. So what we wanted to do is come up with a number based on the number of roads that we got in to consider paving. So we looked at the roads rated 30 and below. We also realized that, perhaps you should pave an arterial road, a road that's a long road that everybody uses more often. They got a high traffic. So we call those arterial and collector roads that are rated below 40. So we put those roads in there. And then connecting nearby roads rated between 30 and 55, your well-trafficked roads in industrial areas, remove roads that we already included in our other rounds of projects. So when someone asks, how'd you come up with these roads? This is how we came up with them. We looked at the street scan, we worked with our GIS mapping folks, we worked with our engineers, we worked with our public safety people who ride these streets all the time, we looked at our schools, our churches, all these things come into play when we're looking at these roads there. So what we wanted to do is compile a list that we could reasonably do within a period of time and come up with that list to start this next part of the program. I want to educate you on a few things. Number one, Macon-Bibb County doesn't own an asphalt plant, right? We don't manufacture our own asphalt. So if we have someone that calls us with a pothole, the best that our guys can do is to basically take something cold out there and fill the hole. Not the best job, and I think you've heard about that, but it's the quickest way we can kind of get a response out there. And if we do other things that create a certain amount of money, we have to go through this process, which takes much longer. Well, that's not the best way necessary to do things. The other complication we have is basically from probably after Thanksgiving through February, you don't pave roads because of the temperature. So you basically limit the amount of roads you can pave in a given year to about a 9-month window. You can't do restriping during those periods of time. So we're having to get a lot of roads done very quickly by using multiple companies and by basically targeting these specific roads that we want to rate out there. So we've done a rating of these roads based on these criteria that you see in front of you to make sure that we touch all those roads that need it, even the worst roads that we have and the most highly traveled roads that are going to be in that fair range. Next category, please. Which leads us to this map that I really like. You can see it, the red there. So this is 947 segments with 459 roads across Macon-Bibb County. You can see the red goes everywhere, so no one can say you're concentrating on one particular area over another area. This is where the data sends us, right? The 30 below, the 40 below, the 55 that I just talked about on the previous screen is how we populate this map. Those are rows and segments there that represent all across Macon-Bibb County and all of your districts. What is that total? That totals approximately 130 miles of road. Now, we just talked about we did 45 in the last 5 years. We're looking at 36 on the previous screen, and on top of that 36, at the same time, we're going to do additional rounds and RFPs for each of these roads. You have one of those lists, a draft list in front of you there. That's not by district, so don't confuse those numbers on the side about district. You should recognize the roads in your own district. I hope you do. So you shouldn't be confused about what district the road's in. So you're talking 130 miles of roads for a cost of $44 million. As you recall, we approved some bond funds that we'll talk about in just a little short while to start this process. So we've gone from 45 miles to 36, and on top of the 36, another 100 and almost 30,000. So you look at that, you're over 160 miles of roads. Do you know what 160 miles of road equates to in number of years of paving in Bibb County? Well, I'll tell you. I know you're asking that question. So we've been paving about 8 miles. So with this new figure that we have here, we're paving 20 years of roads in 1 year. 20 years of roads. So before 8 miles a year, now you're looking at over 160 miles of roads that we're going to have out there for bid and for RFPs in 1 year. So when I said earlier I was being very conservative during our previous meetings when I said we're going to pave 25 roads, 25 years of roads in 4 years, we're going to start the first year by paving 20 years of roads in 1 year. It's simple math. You don't have to take my word for it. Do your own math on your own calculator. You can come up with those numbers. But that tells you how aggressive it is. It tells you how important it is for our community. It tells us how we've been listening to you. You've been listening to your constituents. Each of you I reached out to make sure that you had certain roads that you received complaints about on outside of dirt roads. Now, that's a whole different process. And we wanted to see how quickly we can do this. On your list, you have some zones there. We don't have 9 districts. We have 9 districts that y'all represent. We have 6 zones. Those 6 zones are geographically designed to cover our county. So most of your district's probably going to be in one of those zones and not multiple zones. But for instance, if we're going to pave, if we're going to have Company A pave an area, I don't need them going to Millerfield over there in Mr. Stewart's district and going to Goodall Mill Road over here in Mr. Howell's district, or going out to Mizell to Knoxville Road for a district over there, a log cabin over there. Napier Drive is one of the ones I know needs to be paved. I drive that road all the time. It goes through multiple of your districts. Why don't we change that? Napier Avenue, did I say drive? Napier Avenue there, where I used to go my new way over there. So all those roads go across different districts. So we felt it best, and to get the best bang for our buck, is to have these companies kind of consolidated in certain areas. So when we do a certain zone, we know that they have to drop off their equipment in less places in the same area instead of running around. So why is that important? It's important because it allows us to get to roads quicker and to pay them before we get too cold this year, and to do it in a reasonable manner, because what we don't want people to do is say, well, I saw my road on the list and it's been 3 years and I haven't got it paved. Well, guess what? That used to happen, right? I had Commissioner Wilder to my left who used to wear me out about that, and still does, by the way. But it's a process. But it's a process that we beginning to master. We're doing a lot better job at it. We're being very aggressive with how we spend our money, but we're also being smart. We want to make sure that we take care of everyone's needs. But to do that, we must do that in zones as opposed to district. We all represent everybody in Macon. I've heard of you say that in your campaign speeches. I heard you say it on Facebook. We do represent everybody in the community. Although we represent certain districts that we get elected on, we represent everybody. So this is a fair and equitable way to get paving done across the district. But when someone tells you, what are you doing for me paving-wise, you can tell them what we're doing paving. You can tell them we're paving 20 years of roads in 1 year and be very comfortable with that number without apologizing to it. And how are we doing that? We're doing that with LMIG money. We're doing that with state money. We're doing that with SPLOST money. We're doing that with general fund money. And we're doing that with the old SPLOST and the new SPLOST. Also, I talk a lot, but this is very important. The SPLOST itself, as you recall, we didn't end our 2018 SPLOST collections until probably sometime this last month, July. Therefore, we don't get the money, start collecting for the next SPLOST in 2025 until around October. And the only way to start the projects ahead of time and have money to do this process without waiting a year was to approve the bonds. So as you recall, we approved bonds, and then after we get out of executive session, we'll talk about the bond that we approved on that, how we're going to pay for these things. But right now, I don't want to talk specifically about these roads. We can talk about those offline. If you have specific questions about the program and how we're going to do things, I'll be happy to talk about that here in the open meeting. But I don't want to get into road by road because this is based on the data. It's not based on anybody's particular selection. And I can't tell you the order it's going to be done. That's going to be based on groupings that's more efficient for Macon-Bibb County. So Commissioner Bronson, you had your hand up?
Yes, sir. Thank you for the information that you provided. This is a great program. I believe that we're headed in the right direction. And I'll say my district, right? As you already know, my district kind of touches base with a good bit of the other commissioners here. But one of the major concerns that we're having throughout are flooding roads, right? Roads that are flooding. So I guess my question would have to be, is there any partnership being made with the Macon Water Authority to address certain roads that we know for a fact are flooding or overflooding, that may have that need to be repaved, but at the same time we repave it, but it floods? So is there any partnership in that deal?
Well, Macon Water Authority has to work every one of these roads. So the process is we will take these roads. Clay Murphy will go over that with our team, with the engineers, but also Macon Water Authority. They have sewer, they have the manholes and all that. They have to know where everything located. Until they do their part on all these roads, we can't begin to even put the RFP out there. We already work with the Macon Water Authority to do this. Of course, a lot of the flooding you get is from stormwater and other issues, not necessarily from roads, although there are some that have dips and they have places where people had cracked all sides of the roads that causes water diversion. But certainly Macon Water Authority is part of the process. When I mentioned earlier, I may have left them out, but they certainly are part of the process. We can't finalize our list of roads until they basically get with our engineers to put them out for RFP.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Someone else? Commissioner Wynn? Stay on the
Yes, sir.
side.
Yes, sir, thank you. We had these roads assessed, I think, what, 5, 6, 7 years ago on a similar system. When do we just reevaluate them? Just this year?
Yes, ma'am. We put out, we granted the contract, I think, last September, October, and they finished it up around February, March this year, and we just started getting the program online this last month.
You know, we've had some heat. That affects paving too, doesn't it?
Well, they got to scan every single road. There's a lot of things that affect it, right? If you have cracks, there are potholes that don't go addressed, you have erosion. For example, I'll talk again about Commissioner Waters' district. When you have an interstate shutdown on 475, guess what happens? They get off that interstate, they go down Goodall Mill Road, they go down Fulton Mill Road, and you have a lot of heavy trucks going down those roads. And you get more wear and tear on those roads, therefore they have to be replaced. So those roads, of course, be real thick roads. But we wanted to update that scan because when we put our own eyes, and our team goes out all the time to look at these roads, it wasn't matching the former robotics program we did. So that 1 to 5 doesn't give you enough distance there, difference between the two to kind of separate the value of roads. Like I said, from 1 to 100, you can tell there's a huge difference between a 30 and a 70. Whereas a 3 and a 5, I mean, we could ride around in the car and we all three gonna get different numbers. So I do think it's a better program, but we went back and removed the roads that had been paved on that previous system, but we did all the roads. So we want to make sure we get a more up-to-date on how they've changed since the last 5 years when that program started. Next questions, I think I have some over here. Commissioner Water. Gotcha, sir.
Well, there's no doubt that roads has been my number one topic every time I'm talking. I've made this one statement, and I think it's finally coming through, and the terminology is more heavily traveled county roads where possible. We are, within this, adopting that method along with neighborhood roads that are connected. So I just want to go on record saying thank you and tell the public, and I will be sharing this meeting tonight on social media and tell them, if you don't watch this, you really don't want to know what's going on in Macon. Thank you for everything we got going on, everybody that's been involved. I know it's been a long process, but from what I can see here, we are headed the right direction. And one thing I want to emphasize for the people out here watching, when you wake up one morning, you head to work and they're paving roads, don't call us fussing. This is what you've been asking for. It's going to happen. Just look at them pavement while you're sitting behind those trucks for a few minutes and say, thank you. This is finally happening. So just want to let everybody know, we've been talking about roads. It's happening, people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Water. And just to let you know, the list of roads that we have, there's still a process, right? So just, Commissioner, so you'll know that once we have these roads identified and we start placing those in groupings, you know, by the area and the well-traveled roads first, that has to be put out into an RFP, request, you know, the request for proposal. That RFP goes out there, since it's public works, is 30 days. After 30 days, it comes back to us, and then a bid, suggested winner will come out of that bid for each particular one. So we're not gonna let one company get all of these, because there's gonna be multiple RFPs. Once that comes back, then we come back before this commission, as soon as thereafter to get your approval on approving that contract, and then the work begins. All right, so it ain't starting tomorrow, but we are certain that we have roads that are gonna start very soon that are out there now for the current bid. We will have this out hopefully in the next couple of weeks for a bid, but there's a lot of process we have to go through a water authority, through our engineers to get the RFP prepared for this. And then we got to do it in a strategic manner to make sure we get people bid on these projects. But we'll bring it back as soon as we can, sometime next month, for you to approve the winning bidders. And then we can begin to work on paving these. But keep in mind, we already have 36 out there by that time, 36 miles that are out there paving. If you don't have that list, then shame on you. You can go onto our procurement site. You can look at the work that we do. There's a tab you can click on there, and it tells you the roads that we go out to bid. So don't ever say you don't have those roads, you didn't know about those roads. Those roads are listed there, and they're on that list for procurement, and you can click on them. It gives you all the roads on that list. Those are the ones we use for our LMIG. Other questions on this side here before I go back over to the other side? Anybody else over here? No, back over here? Nobody else?
Yeah.
Mr. Bronson, Commissioner Bronson.
Thank you for that, sir. Just out of curiosity, you mentioned earlier about when we were shutting down roads and people basically, diversion over to other roads. Out of curiosity, will we be able to put, there's no would be, is there any plan of action in regards to putting policies in place that will basically minimize the amount of heavy trucks that's going down certain roads, right? We know that we have certain roads where if a truck driver wants to cut through, he'll cut through and it does the damage back to the road. So then we're right back where we started, so.
We already have policies. The enforcement's the problem.
Gotcha.
We already have policies for all these roads, but it's typically hard to enforce.
Okay.
So we certainly don't want a new road out there and have a lot of trucks, but we have people who don't obey those laws, don't care about the signs, and we just have to deal with it. And
I just want to make sure we don't have big trucks or Bill flying his plane and landing somewhere, so.
Well, we may have big trucks, but it's not any fault of ours. That's just an enforcement issue.
Yes, sir.
So,
Thank you.
certainly that. But I just want to make sure that everyone knows the amount of roads we're paving, how we paid for them, how we came up with those roads to be paved. This ain't who you know, it's the data. This is data-driven. And of course, we're going to work this process as soon as we can to get the roads paved in a timely manner. But keep in mind, when we do these roads, we're going to do it in the most efficient way we can do it, not necessarily maybe the way you want it done, because we need to group these in certain parts of our zones to make sure we can get them covered in a reasonable time. And we hope that all 8 companies get a lot of the work and they can spread it out and do this 8 times as fast. But we are going to put restrictions on there to make sure that one company doesn't dominate that. That means if we go to number 2, number 3 on the bid, we'll do that as well. But we're going to put this money to good use. But we're not taking a vote on this. We can continue to talk. We may tweak this list a little bit if we see some duplication, because I saw a couple on there. We also did a scan for Lake Wildwood. Lake Wildwood's not covered in our roads program because Lake Wildwood's a gated community, so those are not covered. They have their own way of paving roads, but we did, as a courtesy to them, at least grade those roads, and we'll be sharing that with them. So if there's inadvertently a road, one of those roads on this list here, they won't be getting paid by us, so we'll tweak that a little bit. So that's all we're going to talk about right now on the roads. This is not a vote. They'll come back before you in the form of a bid award in the very near future, but keep an eye on that Macon-Bibb County, Macon.Bibb US site procurement. You can go see as we drop these RFPs, you'll see what roads are out there. And I know our communications partner is going to be paving, doing paving away, a lot of live on there. We don't get a lot of notice on these roads, so if they show up in your neighborhood and you're like, I want to be there, I'm sorry. We don't get a lot of notice. Sometimes they'll give us a head up of a day or two if it's a huge road, but they work all that stuff out behind the scenes without giving us a lot of notice. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. So we're going to go ahead and this time go into executive session, and we'll come back out and discuss item 8A. But this time, I entertain a motion to go into executive session for consultation with the county attorney or other legal counsel to discuss pending or potential litigation, settlement of claims, and all other procedures allowed by law. Can I get a motion to go into executive session? Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Wynn. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. We're now in executive session.
it's just like, so it catches, so if you
Problem
like,
is when I hit it,
see what, watch, there it is. And so
yeah,
if you hit it a
but
second
then
time.
they
you-
will hit it.
That's, okay.
So every time I was doing that, under delay, they were doing it. Cut off. I gotta find something. to look for.
Hey, do you want to leave it where you have the control of whether it gets turned on? Do you want to leave it with you having control to turn on, or you want to do it? Because like right now it's set for that.
I have to know that they have a question until the blue light comes up.
Okay, we'll change it back.
But what has happened, I did a delay. Can I get a motion to come out of executive session? Motion by Commissioner Bronson, we have a second. Second by Commissioner Stewart. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. We now have executive session. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being patient with us. We had a long pre-commission, and we have one item we need to close out before we begin our regular meeting. This one item is a item that was referred to in the pre-commission as item 8A. This is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission providing for the approval, execution, and delivery of a bond purchase agreement providing for the sale of $50 million in bonds. We have walked that process through our legal proceedings, including all the necessary steps that need to be taken, and received a bond amount and an interest rate of 2.95% over 10 years. So this is to use for the projects that we specified in the SPLOST, including numerous roads that we discussed in our meeting today, at a pre-commission meeting. So at this time, I'd entertain a motion to approve the receiving of the bond. Commissioner Wilder, I have you. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Bronson. Any further questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Will be sent to consent agenda. At this time, we're going to adjourn that meeting, and we'll begin our next meeting in a manner that we always do. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Macon-Bibb County Commission meeting. This is our regularly scheduled meeting. The time is now 6:13, and I'd like to welcome you to this meeting. We'll begin our meeting like we always do with this call to order and welcome to everyone, followed by our prayer and then a pledge of allegiance. Our prayer tonight will be held by our very own Commissioner Raymond Wilder. And if those of you that can and will, please stand and bow your head during the prayer, and then we'll receive the pledge of allegiance right after that. Let me turn your mic on.
Dear Lord, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for this time spent together to discuss county business. We ask you, Lord, to come into this place with us and help us to think the way you'd want us to think. Dear Lord, we ask for your guidance in all that we do in this county business. We just thank you for the opportunity to serve our constituents. We just ask you, Lord, to be with us as we conduct this business today. In Jesus' wonderful name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. We do not have any comments on comments on agenda items. We do have some non-agenda that we'll get to in just a moment. We do have item 6A, which is the approval of the minutes from the July 15th, 2025 regular commission meeting. Can I get a motion to approve? Motion by Commissioner Wynn, second by Commissioner Wilder. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. We'll move on to the consent agenda with the numerous items we had today. We have consent agenda items A through U that was previously published. At this time, I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as published, items A through U. Motion by Commissioner Bailey, second by Commissioner Howell. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell you about a presentation we did earlier regarding roads. Some of you may have seen that, but just want to give you an update on where we're at in our Paving the Way program. What we presented earlier today is that in the previous 2020 to 2025, Macon-Bibb County had paved approximately 45 miles of road, and that was just an insufficient amount that we felt like we needed to do. So we started this Paving the Way project using various state funds, local funds, general fund, SPLOST dollars from 2018, and now we're into our SPLOST dollars for 2025. Commission approved a bond you heard earlier we voted on up to $50 million, and one of those projects is something that's very near and dear to most people in this room, is the bond for the roads. So just to give you a little information, and we've got the screen up, so we might as well stay with that. Round one was information I told you about, 45.539 miles, which is approximately 8 miles of roads paved each year, give or take a few. And go to the next slide. The next slide here is 36.18 miles. So if you look at that Paving the Way round two, you'll see almost $12 million that we appropriated that's out there right now. Those blue dots tell you where it's at in the county of the roads that we're paving. But more importantly, this is just an example of how we're doing things differently to pave roads. We have 3 RFPs, requests for proposals, out there right now on our website for everyone to see. And those expire on August the 21st through the 28th. We got one RFP that has closed, and we'll be announcing the winning bidder of that. That will be at our next meeting to vote on accepting of those funds. So those 4 RFPs there total 36 miles. As you recall, that one round 2 here is almost equivalent to the entire 2020 to 25. So you can see that we're working with great speed. Next slide, please. Here are some of the factors we use in paving roads. So many of you may ask, how do they come up with these roads? This is not who a particular commissioner knows. It's not someone that calls up here to complain all the time. This is data-driven. So that street scan you see there is a professionally company that we did last year that scanned every single road in Macon-Bibb County for cracks, for gator cracks, for potholes, for all kinds of things there. And they give us a grade. Our former system was a robotics program that we used. It only gave us a 1 through a 5. 1 being the best road in Macon, 5 being the worst road. And this commission decided that they were going to take the 5 rated roads first and started paving that list down as much as we could year by year, and that's where we got the previous 45 miles of road. And we also did the LMIG, which is our state funds that we talked about, and our general funds and our SPOS dollars to come up with those 36 miles that are out there now. And the new process we got that you saw about 130 miles coming up was based on this road selection criteria. So the scan went around to all the places in Macon-Bibb County. It looks for the roads that are rated 30 and below. If you can imagine 1 being the best and being the worst and 100 being the best, you can see 30 is a very low score for a road. So we pulled those roads out. We looked at the arterial and the collector roads that were rated below 40. And then finally, we looked at those connecting nearby roads rated between 30 and 55. Because quite honestly, we have some roads that are more traveled than others, and they have more wear and tear, so we wanted to give them pay better attention to them. We also removed roads that we previously included in the other rounds or other projects. So those were the criteria of the roads that we used to come up with some lists that's been provided as a draft to your commissioners to pave roads in Macon-Bibb County in an equitable and fair manner. Next slide. So you'll look at these roads here and you'll see 459 roads, 947 separate road segments there that are to be paved for almost 130 miles of roads at a cost of $44 million. You can see that red there. That has nothing to do with the blue that you saw before. This is in addition to the 36 miles that we talked about before. So when you add that 36 miles to this 129 miles, you'll get a figure in excess of 160 miles. So if you equate that to a year, you're looking at 20 years of roads paved in just 1 year increment that we have here. So we're basically used to pave 8 miles per year. This is 160 miles in 1 year. And you ask yourself, how do we do that? We do that because the team has been working real hard together with everybody, from our public safety to our Macon Water Authority to our engineer department to our public works department. Everyone has been involved in this process, to the commissioners sitting in front of you. And we wanted to do this as quickly as possible. That's why we designated those SPOS funds to do that. So each of these will be grouped in certain zones in Macon-Bibb County. That grouping will go out in the form of a RFP, request for proposal. But the other important thing that we like to note here is we've been working with our small and minority business director, Ms. Sharice Stevens-Merriweather, to try to get more people involved in the process. What we found in Macon-Bibb County is we get more people involved in the process. It spreads the money around. It also spreads the work around, and we get better we get more money and more roads paid for a lesser amount. So just to give you an example, we used to have 1 or 2 companies that would come to submit bids for a project. As you can imagine, when you just get 1 or 2 companies, they get to dictate the price and the time. In this particular situation here, we were able to get 8 companies come in to do bids for this one that we got out there now, and of course we have 3 others doing it. As we get 8 companies in, we feel like that we can reward those companies all across the county and do multiple projects at one time while being able to feed their families and improve their companies as well. So this is how we plan on using the tax dollars, the SPOS dollars that you so graciously voted for. We're satisfied and excited about being able to pave 20 years of road in just over a year. That process won't start until we get this RFP, and the RFP is to be done in the next 30 to 60 days. Also keep in mind that while it's cold outside, usually between just after Thanksgiving, right around December, through February, there's not very much road paving that happens, because when it's cold like that, you traditionally can't pave roads, whether it's asphalt or concrete. We do a lot of striping during that period of time and other things to prepare for it. but there's about 9 good months that you have for paving roads. So when people ask you out there about paving roads, you can tell them that we are paving 20 years of road in just 1 year. And we're doing that because this community thought it not robbery to approve our SPOS by 86%. So we thank you for that. This is your 1 penny getting good use of that. And I'd like to personally thank all these commissioners who had input in this, and to thank the people that work behind the scenes to make sure that we had the data. This is a data-driven process, and we're making sure that that's happening and as quickly as we can. So we didn't have the presentation on for tonight, but I wanted you to make sure for those of you that missed it earlier tonight, and let you know what we're doing with these funds and how we're working quickly to get this done. So we appreciate you being here tonight. We got to our point of the agenda where we get to public comments on non-agenda items. We do have, I think, 4 of those tonight.